the tourist town where the South China Sea meets Huizhou. Took some drone footage here a little earlier this morning. Hey, SideburnsZA. Both you and Lao Lai's guy didn't post a video last week, so I had to go back into some of your older videos to look for a topic. Now, I'm not nearly as good as you at flying a drone, but I'm just learning. It's actually much more difficult than it looks. Since I'm on a bit of a holiday, I hope you don't mind that I play some drone footage in the background while I talk about this topic. I want to make it clear, absolutely clear, that I understand why you lied many times about having a work visa in China. Basically, it comes down to the fact that you were posting videos on YouTube. Obviously, you couldn't say that you were working on a business visa. You're living in the US now, though. It's unlikely that you'll ever return to China, so it's okay to tell the truth now, right? Although, I guess some of your viewers may consider you a liar if you told the truth now. Now, of course, not working legally, you also couldn't pay any tax on your income, which I suppose some people might, interpret that as you being a little bit ungrateful, making a living degrading China, while you got away with not paying any tax all those years. Even when you started to do YouTube full time, you obviously, you couldn't have your income deposited in a Chinese bank. I don't think that's even possible. You had all your YouTube money deposited into your Hong Kong account and didn't have to report that income anywhere, did you?
Thing is, like I said, I'm not allowed to work in China. I'm not allowed to do anything other than just sit around and visit my wife. So that's why all my work is now on YouTube, because I'm not technically working for a Chinese company. I'm not actually working in China. I'm not taking a job away from anyone in China. So there we go.
Oh, that's interesting. Can you also just live in the US and not pay taxes on income? It's kind of curious. You also had your PayPal donations deposited to Hong Kong, which is also unreported income. Here's an interesting fact about income deposited to Hong Kong. If you're an American, Hong Kong is obligated to report your income to the IRS. You being South African exempts you from that reporting. That's kind of interesting, right? Which, it also raises the question of how long after moving to the US did you continue to have your income deposited to Hong Kong, avoiding reporting taxes? But I digress. Let me get back to you not working legally in China. You're probably wondering, now how do I know that? Well, I actually did the same thing. I just never lied about it, not once. As chief engineer of a factory, I was always curious, why did the factory have me work with a business visa and they deposited my income to a Hong Kong bank account, avoiding paying taxes in China? Every time I had to do like a, quote, visa run, I did get pretty worried that I might not get readmitted to China. Remember visa runs?
So you stay 3 months. You just go out one day into Hong Kong, come straight back in. Or depending where you are in the country, you can also just go into Outer Mongolia, back in. You literally just go over the border, turn around, U-turn, walk right back. I know a lot of people in Shenzhen, they come down on the train to Shenzhen in order to do this. They go over the border at Lohu, they walk through customs, they literally turn around, and they come straight back in. And it refreshes those 3 months. Now you got another 3 months. So it's called a visa run.
Here's you on an actual visa run to Hong Kong. Remember this?
Well, here I am once again in Hong Kong. This time on a visa run.
It was at this moment that he knew. He f***ed up.
You actually don't even need to leave mainland China to renew your work visa. Some of your viewers, probably not many, might have picked up on your lie right then after you posted that visa run video. You can't even get a visa for the mainland in Hong Kong. Well, I guess that's not entirely true. I did get several one-year business visas in Hong Kong, but it was shady. Human resources at the factory had connections in Hong Kong that would get it done. They would tell me to go to a certain subway station, go upstairs to the trash bin near the McDonald's, look for a guy in a blue jacket. I'd hand him my passport and he'd send it to San Francisco, where somehow a new visa would be issued and put in my passport. I'd have to return like a week later and pick it up. It was all arranged and paid for by human resources, but very strange. It's just how things were done at the time. Yeah, you could get like a one-year business visa, which is what I was working with. But then you would get like a 30, 60, or if you were lucky, a 90-day entry permit from the local police station, which you had to report to within 24 hours of entering China. The whole thing was just so bizarre. I tried and tried many times over the years to get the company to get me a work visa. I always worked for the same company, so why would they have me keep getting business visas? Turns out, it's extremely difficult to get a work visa in China. If you do get a work visa, you can only work at the place the visa was issued for. I think you might know that, right?
Yeah, okay. So yeah, you can only work on that for that one particular company. Right? You're not allowed to pick up any part-time work. You're not allowed to go do other things.
Correct.
You're stuck with that one company and that company only. So the next step up for me after kindergarten, and I mucked around with some other training centers and things, I ended up at a very high-class training center, okay, which is for adults only.
You, on the other hand, claimed you worked for kindergartens, training schools, you worked for 10 cent, you were a security guard for a rapist, you taught doctors, and even apparently traveled the country as an architect.
I got flown around the country as a foreign architect. I've told that story before.
You're telling me that you went through the process of getting a new work visa for all those places. It is a bit curious, I guess, that at about the same time you fled China, the Chinese government decided to strictly enforce immigration laws that were already on the books. When the government did start to strictly enforce the immigration laws, my company finally got me a work visa. But I was terrified that they might ask for back taxes for all those years I worked illegally. Thankfully, they didn't. They let me start with a clean slate. But my income was taxed from that day on. Obviously, I was involved with getting the work visa. It actually took a long time to prepare all the documents, and I was a little surprised at some of the documents that were required. But after all that, it helped me to realize why the company just had me work with a business visa while they still could. Just so you know, I won't think any less of you if you finally tell the truth.
Beware of the drunken foreigner with a bike.